So today's combo deck is a ton of fun. It plays no creatures but wins with combat damage from a totally bonkers card that just gets better and better as the game goes on. Hey everyone, Hex here, and today I'm playing a sweet little combo synergy deck I've been having so much fun with in Standard. But before we get going, I want to thank everyone for their support for this channel, and if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button below to help support the channel, and you won't miss out on future combos and future videos. But onto this deck, and it evolved from my previous combo video where I ended up realizing the potential of the card Urabrask's Forge. It was my plan B there, but in this deck, it's definitely my plan A. So, Urabrask Forge is a 3-mana artifact that says at the beginning of combat on your turn, put an oil counter on it, then create an X1 red Phyrexian horror creature token with trample and haste, where X is the number of oil counters on it. Sack it in your end step. So, for the first few turns, this is a bit weak, but when 4 oil counters or more are on it, opponents realize that this is a problem. The best thing is that it eats into opponents' removals and it just keeps coming back and back and back. All the other cards basically in this deck help enable Forge combos. So as we're generally only attacking with this creature and playing at instant speed, I'm using Curse of Hospitality and Tempered in Solitude. Both can give you card advantage when you attack or do damage, and both work really well with this card. To accelerate the oil counters, we have Experimental Augury and Serum Snare. They proliferate nicely and help keep our opponent's tempo down. We also have a land in Monumental Facade. It ETBs with 2 oil counters, and at sorcery speed, you can move an oil counter to a target artifact. So it's pretty niche for oil decks, but has some amazing synergies in this deck. As with all my combo decks, I love having another way to win, and in this case, I'm squeezing in Mindsplice Apparatus. It's a 4-mana flashy artifact that gets an oil counter in your upkeep and discounts instants and sorceries by the amount of oil counters on it. So we're playing 2 main spells that we would like to reduce the cost of. Firstly, Blue Sun's Twilight. This card is X and 2 blue and lets you steal a creature with a mana value X or less. So with all the monstrous creatures we're facing at the moment, this works so well as a finisher to remove a blocker in your way, or to use your Fable to make a copy of the creature that you steal to attack with. I've been super impressed with this card today. The other X spell is a copy of Light Up the Night. It does X damage to any target and can totally surprise your opponent to win out of nowhere if you target their face. I love just keeping this back until you have several counters on your apparatus and then just winning on the spot. So I've played this deck a lot today and have a load of interaction for specific situations I keep finding myself in. Firstly, 4 copies of Brotherhood's End. As you're not playing creatures, this is essential for creature heavy decks or to clear planeswalkers. I've got Play with Fire and Rebel Salvo for removal, the latter specifically being for Shieldred or the big indestructible Mondrax. We've got Bankbuster and Fable for card advantage, Spell Pierce and Reject Imperfection for keeping big threats off the board, and my secret card that can work with either of our win cons, Twinferno. It can give double strike to your token or copy your spell, so with it in hand can speed up the winning by a few turns. So we got 24 lands and that's the deck. At first glance there's a lot of 1-ofs and 2-ofs, but we're generally playing at instant speed, and the advantage from the curses is more than good enough to ensure that we have the right answers in our hands to do whatever we face. Anyway, this deck worked a treat for me today and did exactly what I wanted. The Forge is unstoppable if opponents have no removal for it. It's like a train that just keeps coming turn after turn after turn, so have a watch and let me know what you would change. Alright then, on the draw here. A couple of Facades is pretty nice, but the rest of the hand looks pretty bad. I think this is better. We have our Forge, which is what we always want. Twinferno's nice, it's just a nice late game there to give our creature double strike. So we'll bottom that one, and yeah, just opponent looks like they are on a Orzhov deck. And we could Play with Fire their face, but I think we'll just wait. Play our Tempered in Solitude. So this, whenever a creature you control attacks alone, exile the top card of your library, you may play that card this turn. So generally we're going to be attacking with just one creature, so I kind of like this card. It's 1-of in the deck, and it has an attack trigger rather than a deals damage trigger, so we will always manage to get some kind of value from it. But we have to, obviously I've got no mana this turn. Another Forge, that's really unfortunate. That was the top card in our deck there that we would have drawn next turn. So that one's going to go to waste. Opponent with a wedding announcement there. And yeah. This is exactly what I think, why I think this card's so good. I mean, yeah, they take 1 damage now. Even if they'd blocked, they would have lost their creature, but next turn it's 2 damage coming at them. Okay, here's Mondrak on turn 4. So we don't have a clean way to deal with that right now. I mean, Brotherhood's End does 3 damage to everything. I wonder if the opponent blocks the token with their Mondrak here. Hopefully they do. Okay, they don't. They just take the damage. But we found our gardens on the top there. I think we have to play our mountain, though, because we're going to Brotherhood's End the board and then finish off Mondrak with Play with Fire. I think Mondrak could quite easily take over if we're not careful there. So the other option is let them just create a whole army of 1/1s and 2/2s and then blow up the board later. But we don't want their Mondrak to become indestructible. Okay, here comes another Mondrak. Okay, that's a little bit more annoying this turn as we don't have any removal in our hand. Attack first. See if there's a land on top that we can play rather than playing the land from our hand. Opponent may be reluctant to want to block this, though. Okay, there was an island. Good. So yeah, load of value here from this Tempered in Solitude. Kind of doesn't, on its own, feel like a good card, but if you're playing this Forge in your deck, it seems pretty sweet. It's a good little synergy. Obviously, if you've got a couple of Forges, it doesn't work so well, but we're only playing 1 of here. Opponent did block. So we have the Snare, and we have Fable here. So the Facade in our mana base, we can tap that as a sorcery to put a counter on the Forge to speed up our attacks, but we haven't really had a chance yet to spend our turn doing that. We don't have to do it right now. In the Trenches, alright, well, I think that's okay for us right now because they're not creating any tokens. I was more worried about some way for them to create a whole ton of tokens here, like a Rebel Rousing or something. Sheoldred's Edict. Okay, sacrifice a token. Fair enough. Yeah, I'm fine with that. So we got Serum Snare here. So if we snare the 3/3, we get to proliferate. Or we do it to the 6/6 and they'll have to replay that again next turn. In the Trenches is a slight worry in the fact that if they have another land next turn, they can exile our Forge. So that is a worry. But there's not much we can do there. I mean, we could snare our Forge back to our hand. But yeah, we'll put Mondrak in theirs, then they have to make a decision next turn if they're going to spend their whole turn dealing with our Forge. Fable and Augury. Okay, well, we'll cast our Augury now so we can proliferate. Another Forge. Or the Counter Spell. Counter Spell would be nice to counter this Mondrak, but we don't have the mana to do that. We've just got the 1 blue and that is tapped right now. So we'll find another Forge instead because that will allow us to have some redundancy in case our opponent does decide to into the Trenches our Forge. And we could tap our Facade here to put it on the other Forge, but I think it's better that we just go a little bit wider and hit our opponent for 6. So yeah, we've had a few nice little tempo plays with this Mondrak, but we have kind of run out a little bit here. So here comes Mondrak. Mondrak's my deck that I play with when I'm not playing combo decks. I think it's such a good card and it fits in pretty much so many different situations. I'm looking to find ways to combo off with that card, to be honest. We find a Apparatus there. Probably the worst draw we could draw at that particular moment in time, to be honest. So just going to use the Facade here to pop a counter on our Forge. Now this is a situation where we probably just want to attack with 1 because we have Tempered in Solitude. Okay, Serum Snare, that's perfect. That's exactly why we attack with just 1 creature there. Because we get to throw this Mondrak back to the opponent's hand. And yeah, just keep this tempo going. The next turn again, they're going to have to spend their whole turn casting that. So yeah, we lose a little bit of damage, but we gained a lot of value there. Right then, on the play here was hand is okay. Rebel Salvo in the deck here, mainly still with Sheoldred and the big indestructible 5/5s. Opponent looks like they are on a Grixis deck, and they just pass the turn. Okay, well, normally I'd be playing Forge here, but I just don't see the point. I think it's a very high probability they have a counterspell. In fact, it's Prologue to Phyrexia. All right, so they're a Poison Proliferate deck. So my experience with this, because I play with this deck a lot, is getting that first Poison counter on is so important that I'm fine to counter that spell. Okay, and here comes a Prologue, another one. All right, so we've basically got a turn here to cast our Forge. So I'm happy that we did that. Kind of set them back a little bit. Otherwise, they would just hold open counter spells and proliferate when we don't do anything. So at least with the Forge, we get some attacking going on here. So yeah, I always think it's good to try and stop that first poison counter if possible, even if it was one of our premium counter spells. But I'm fine with that. So I'm not sure what they play to be able to deal with Urabrask's Forge. I guess they've got a Serum Snare themselves. So we have one in our hand. Put it with Venser Corpse Puppet. Okay, so that creates a golem every time they proliferate, if they are a legendary golem. Just going to go to attacks first. Attack, see what the opponent does. So yeah, we've got stuff we can do in our hand. I mean, we could kill this, puff it if we need to. We could snare it if we want to, but I kind of like just waiting slightly. We don't know what the opponent's going to have, but they could put down a Sheoldred, which the Salvo can deal with. So we'll just bide our time. Wait for our Forge to tick up a bit. Okay, opponent with Twinferno themselves. Kind of nice little spicy addition to the Proliferate deck here. It's going to Serum Snare the Venser back now. I guess it doesn't really matter if we do it now or not. I guess they just miss out on an attack from it because they're still going to create their golem. Maybe should have waited on that. But it's fine. Opponent can't attack with a 3/3, and yeah, we're going to be attacking with a 4/1 next turn. It's going to salvo this golem. I think if opponent had Sheoldred, they would have played it. Gate Apparatus. Always seem to draw that card when we don't really want it. Going to use the Apparatus as a combo deck in a future video with other types of spells. But just testing it out here, really. This is quite a nice plan B, and maybe not in this particular game, but I have one using the Blue Sun's Twilight and the X damage to opponent's face several times today, so we'll see if we find one of those games. But on this one, okay, Volt's charge. Distorted Curiosity, they get to draw a couple of cards. And they find a land and another Curiosity. All right, so we're going to have a little attack here, I guess. Wonder what they were looking for. Get rid of this Apparatus. There's a Spell Pierce, probably a little bit too late. Do like Bankbuster. But we'll attack our opponent here, down to 11. And we've kind of kept them at bay a little bit. We're only on 3 poison counters, but they might find a way to just kill us in one turn, so we've got to be mindful of that. There's not much we can do except for Spell Pierce, their biggest spell, their last spell. And I guess we can draw as well from our Bankbuster, so kind of like where we are. I think this game is very even at the moment. Obviously, we don't know what they've got. If they've just got red in the deck for the copy spells, Venser returns, okay. I don't mind that card, it's fine. Okay, we find oh, there's a Blue Sun's Twilight, all right. Okay, so maybe we will see that card in action today. Okay, so obviously if we try and steal their Venser, they're going to proliferate, they're going to create a golem. they're going to put it back to their hand. Something's going to happen, but we're just going to take it and see what they do about it. If anything, this takes the 3 toughness off the battlefield, so we can attack for more damage with our Forge. If opponent wants to spend too much mana on a spell here, we have our Spell Pierce available, but I would like this Venser in our side of the board. And there's Vraska's Fall. Okay, 3 mana. So we could Spell Pierce this. And I guess the 3 power we've got with our creatures allows us to also attack with our Bankbuster here. So how much damage is this going to be? 4, 6. I'm going to take the opponent down to 1. I guess that's not dead. Oh my goodness. We're going to have to survive another turn. I do wonder if we could have found a way to get an extra point of damage through there. I didn't think the I thought they were going to maybe return the Venser back to their hand, or literally just straight up counter the spell of ours. I didn't expect us to actually take that then, but they're playing Galvanic Iteration, so I think we should be okay. They've only got 4 mana. It's Drown on our 2/2. They kill our Venser as well, or their Venser. But yeah, I mean, this Forge is just going to hit them for 7 next turn. It's like an unstoppable train, isn't it? There's another Forge, all right. Well, that's overkill. So I guess if the opponent has removal in their hand, we swerve that now. We have the other Forge. We'll see. But I don't know if they can, what they can do about this. They had Serum Snare, okay. So maybe we got that Forge right at the right time then, but we hit our opponent for 1 more damage. Nice. All right, on the play. Pretty unusual hand, but we'll keep this one. Could do with some red spells. Put it with a Swamp and Evolve Sleeper. All right, so looks like mono blacks. We find our Brotherhood's end. All right, so once again with these creature type of decks, it's best to see if we can just allow our opponent to put all their creatures on the board, and then we'll just blow it up. Misery Shadow a little bit annoying because they can pump in response to us playing Brotherhood's End. But Augury here to look for a card. Not the best cards. Really looking for a Forge. I'm just going to take the other Ball Wipe. And Shivan Reef. Alright, well, we'll just clear the way here. This card is phenomenal in these type of decks. Just keeps the board clean. Opponent with a 3rd Swamp, and they just pass the turn. Alright. So we'll just play our 4th mana and pass our turn. We have all sorts of things we can do. And yeah, they pass their turn, so we'll play this Apparatus and start adding counters to this. Rebel Salvo is a really nice draw there, 5 damage and lose indestructible, so able to take care of any Sheolderids. Opponent with a Misery Shadow, that's fine by me. And yeah, they're just going to pass their turn. Okay. All right, well, we'll put this back in their hand. Proliferate our Apparatus. And yeah, all of our X-Spells, either of our X-Spells, if we find them, are going to be a lot cheaper now. There's the Forge. All right, here we go. This is much better now. Okay, Mycosynth Gardens is a nice draw as well. Trust me, Mycosynth Gardens is such a nice card to have in a deck like this. Okay, Auto Tapper, not so great there. I would like to have held open Reject Imperfection. That's my bad. I should have definitely checked that. It has held open the Gardens, which taps for colorless, or you pay 1 and tap it to pay for a colored spell. All right, opponent with Misery Shadow. I don't think I would have countered that, so we kind of got away with that. But we'll let that one go. And there's a Facade. All right, we can start doing stuff now. So let's get an oil counter onto the Forge and start doing some damage, I think. So we'll go to attacks first, and we'll see if they want to block or how they evolve this turn. Attack our opponent for 3. Okay, cut down. All right, so it looks like they've probably got a whole hand of removal here. No real targets. There's another real upside of this deck. I guess cut downs are going to be pretty useless again in a minute anyway. The Forge is going to be creating bigger creatures than they can handle. But Novice Occultist for opponent, and they're going to pump all their mana here into Misery Shadow. Well, we can either take 5 and then blow up the board next turn, or just use this salvo now and deal with the Misery Shadow. Mycosynth Gardens here, we have an opportunity here to use the mana to create another Forge. So, real niche kind of combo here. So we can start attacking from 2 fronts. And yeah, we'll take a counter off of our Facade, put it on the other Forge, and there's 2 creatures coming at our opponents now. So this is a lot of damage that started to add up here. Opponent blocks, okay. They go down to 15. Can't believe they're still on 15 life. 6th mana. And Tenacious Underdog, alright. That's fine. Phyrexian Obliterator, alright, well, we'll counter that one. I mean, it's not something we want sitting on the battlefield. Brotherhood's End, alright. So it's 2 in our hand. I think just to try and finish this game as quick as possible, we'll just get rid of the Underdog. Unfortunately, haven't got any more oil counters on a Facade to move across. But we'll heal opponent for 8. They go down to 7. And yeah. Didn't find any of our enchantments this game, sorry, to start exiling the top cards of opponent's library. But we should be okay here. Okay, did I say that too soon? They've got another Obliterator. Right, alright. So, how do we win this game? So we'll start off by playing our land. And how much damage can we do? So we can do, if they don't block, we can do 10 damage. If they block, we can do 8. We would lose our board. So if we can do 3 damage to the Obliterator now, we have to sacrifice 3 permanents, and we'll just get rid of our 2 lands and the Facade here. And I really hope they don't have anything in their hand, because this should be a lethal attack. They can block 2 damage and we're doing 10. So they would go down to -1, but they're going to have to block with their Obliterator. So they are going to lose their Obliterator here. And creatures only have trample, so we're only going to lose 2 permanents. Okay, Infernal Grasp on our 4/1. They do take 2 damage for that though, but I guess we just attack. So against these Obliterator decks, it's really difficult to... You do sometimes end up having to lose your permanents, but these Forges don't require any mana each turn. So yeah, we'll just attack our opponent. They have to block. They block with their Obliterator. Luckily we have Trample, so we're only going to lose 2 permanents now. And I guess we'll get rid of the Apparatus and one of our lands. And yeah, they're on 1 life. I don't know how they get out of this. They can't blitz out their Underdog, and they need to deal with both our artifacts. This has been a really good game, actually. Really enjoyed this one against the mono black deck. And it's Arena. All right, so they're going to kill themselves in their upkeep anyway. Fair enough. All right, on the play. Hand looks okay. A couple of Brotherhood's End is always pretty nice. Obviously, we don't know what we're playing up against, but hopefully it is a creature-heavy deck. Put it with the planes and a frontliner. All right, so got to suggest it's going to be soldiers. So these Brotherhood Ends are going to be fantastic. We will try and allow the opponent to overcommit, and then we'll blow up the board. But we did draw our Forge there, so there's our win condition. We might want to be casting that next turn to get that moving. Take a bit of damage now, though. So we'll see what we want to do. We could put one of those back in their hands with Serum Snare there and proliferate, but you kind of want to proliferate when you've got this Forge on the battlefield to increase the oil counters on it. So hit the opponent here for 1. They go down to 19. Yeah, just hopefully they overcommit a load of soldiers to the board here, and we'll blow up the board. and then keep hitting the opponent down. Thalia, okay, well, that's a bit of a nemesis for spells type of deck like ours. So fingers crossed we draw a land. Okay, another Brotherhood's End. Alright, well that kind of upsets our tempo a little bit, but we'll attack with our 2-1. Opponent takes it, okay. Down to 17. And nothing else for us to do. We have the Serum Snare, so I guess we can return Thalia end of turn if we need to, and then blow up the board next turn. And it's Siege Veteran, okay. So Siege Veteran puts a +1 counter on a target creature, but more importantly for them, it's going to leave behind a couple of tokens when we blow up the board. Opponent did target their Thalia there, so that was nice that we saved a little damage there, but this is an attack for 4. As soon as we can clear this board, we can get a Curse of Hospitality down, and then we can start attacking and gaining a whole ton of value. So I guess we could do this now. We would take 7, go down to 4. I think that might be a little bit too risky. I think we'll clear the board while we have a chance. Yeah, leave behind a couple of tokens, but what are you going to do about that? And hit our opponent for 4. Okay, they block 1. Well, it has trample, so they go down to 14. But yeah, this Forge now, every turn, going to have a 5 power creature, a 6 power creature, and if we can start proliferating, we can speed this along a little bit. And Thalia returns, and so does a Frontliner. I really have been impressed with this Forge. If the opponent doesn't have artifact removal, they normally have to just spend their normal spot removal on creatures that don't really, that will just keep coming back. But we go down to 6, and we find a Spell Pierce. Don't think these soldier decks play any non-creature spells. Not going to work too well here, but yeah, get the opponent down to 9. So Spell Pierce in the deck just to keep tempo if opponents are playing things like Evoke Despair, or even against mono red decks, keeping that Kamano off the battlefield on turn 1 is always a nice play. Brutal Cathar comes down. Well, so if we Brotherhood's End now, we take the opponent down to 3. So we probably can kill them, but I'm going to go for the Curse instead. See what value we can get out of this. If anything, we can try and find a land. So yeah, going to take the opponent down to 3 here. And I don't think they can kill us next turn. I can't think what in their deck they can play instant speed to do 6 damage to us. So I think this is quite a nice matchup, really, I guess. Okay, they block, so they go down to 5. We get some damage through. And yeah, we find a Valiant Veteran off opponent's deck there. So yeah, I wanted a land, really, but so be it. And it is a Brutal Cathar. Okay, so they're going to take their own creature, I guess, back. And yeah, we have 7 damage here, and they've got 2 toughness, so they might have Resolute Reinforcements. That is something to be wary of. But yeah, might as well just attack. See what we're facing. Okay, and they take it, and yeah, down to 5, or take 5, and they die. It just shows how good the Urabrask's Forge is in that deck. Alright, on the play. Hand looks okay. Just need to find that 3rd mana, and then hopefully this Tempered in Solitude and Urabrask's Forge can really help skew the game in our favour. Opponent with a Frontliner, so pretty glad also we've got the Brotherhood's End in our hand. Hopefully they can go really wide, and then we can just blow up the board. Guardian of New Benalia, okay. So yeah, next turn we'll play the... Actually, we don't draw a land, okay. Okay, well, I'm just going to put the Guardian back in their hand now. Let's try and save some damage next turn. Yeah, we really need a land drop. I think our hand's really nice. If we can find a red mana, I think it would have to be as well. Here comes Siege Veteran, though, and yeah. Attacking us for 2. Okay, there's a Facade. Right, well, I guess we get to put the Forge down here. So the problem with playing the facades in the deck is we do lose the coloured mana that they could produce, but so be it. Haven't had too many mana problems with this deck. I think 24 lands seems to be just fine. I think the facades are really important in the deck. I think they need to be in here, so we've just been unlucky here. We haven't drawn a coloured mana, but opponent's getting pretty busy with their soldiers. So 6 damage coming our way. And we really need to get rid of this veteran before it gets out of Brotherhood's end range. And just an island, or hopefully we find a mountain off our Tempered in Solitude. So if anything, it is showing how good this tiny little enchantment from Kamigawa is in this deck. I think it was meant to be used for samurais, but in this case it just found us an island. But yeah, say that was a mountain, we would have just blown up the board there, and that would have been so much value from us there. Fortunately, resolute reinforcements. All right, well, I guess if we let this go, we could easily die next turn, so fortunately we have to counter that. Not sure we're going to get out of this game. And there's an officer, okay. So they put their counter on. Okay, put it on the front line, that's fine. They're going to attack us for 9 here. We're going to go down to 2. Yeah, this is annoying. We need a red mana. Oh, we do find one. I guess it's going to, unfortunately, leave behind a load of 1/1s, though, from the Siege Veteran, so don't think we can win this. We needed to find a way there to deal with the Veteran and deal with the rest of the board, so yeah, this looks like a game loss. So yeah, we just Brotherhood's End here, and it's just going to leave a load of creatures available for the opponent to attack us down with. Nothing much more we can do there. Okay, well, they attempt to counter that, which was they didn't need to necessarily do, but yeah, here come the 1/1. So unfortunate game here. I feel like if we'd got a mountain a couple of turns earlier, we may have actually won this game, but so be it. And yeah, little loss here to the soldier deck. Alright, on the draw here, I really like this hand. Opponent with a Swamp and a Keeper Reckoner Raid. Yeah, there's a Facade. Alright, so pretty nice hand for us here. We just need our Forge over the next couple of turns. Transmogrant's Crown, okay. So not under too much pressure right now. There's Reject Imperfection, alright. So we should be good here. Hopefully they don't have too much of a strange turn this one, so we can hang in there. Phyrexia Arena, alright, that's absolutely fine with me. So I guess they are going to start obviously getting some cards back, but we're not going to take too much damage this turn. We're not going to take any damage. Okay, Bankbuster, Reef or Twinferno. Going to take the Twinferno here. I haven't really had a chance to properly use that card, and I really want to see if I can get it to work. So we'll grab that. And hopefully they play another creature and we can Twinferno both their creatures. Fingers crossed they do. Okay, Crown straight on the Captain. Alright, well, I'm just going to destroy that now, so that when we destroy it in a minute, it's not going to draw them a card, and I am going to copy it, so we also get to scry, because we do need to find one of our forges here. So yeah, not the way I really wanted Twinferno to be used in this, but I'm pretty happy with the way it ended up, really. Okay, well, we will always want to cast our Fable if we have nothing better to do, as this card gains a load of value. Okay, opponent with Cut Down. So another deck that has obviously packed removal in their hands but has no target. So another Arena, alright. Going to take a bit of damage in their upkeeps, and there's our Forge. That is exactly what we need. Discard one of our lands here. Draw another one, okay. And yeah, we'll get this forge going, and this should be a the start of something good, I think, against this kind of deck. We should be okay here. We even got to use our facades counter there onto the forge, so they go down to 14. That's a lot of damage that they've taken themselves. Okay, and there's Shelly. Sure, we'll take the damage there. So we can always put this back in their hand with Otawara if we want to. I think the best thing to do first is to attack and see if they block. And if they block, we can use our Brotherhood's End to finish off Sheoldred. Okay, they take here. They go down to 10. I think we'll just pass our turn. Sheoldred and Phyrexia Arena work really well together as they gain back 1 net life off each of the arenas. So they go back up to 12, and then I guess they go back up to 14 through their actual draw step. So yeah, they didn't lose any life, did they? Phyrexian Obliterator, okay. So Obliterator really is a card a red deck struggles to necessarily deal with, but countering it is probably the best way to keep it off the board. So pretty happy that we kept open the Imperfection there. Our opponent does put their Transmogrant's Crown on Sheoldred, so it's a 6/5 now. Drop our land, and yeah, we'll just channel Otawara, put Sheoldred back in their hand, and keep the tempo going. Hit the opponent here for 7. Put them down to 7. See what they can do this turn. I guess they go down to 5 now from the arenas. They don't have Sheoldred on the battlefield to help gain them some life. And if they want to cast that this turn, I'm fine with that. Yep, because we can hopefully just deal with that with these Brotherhood's Ends. So they're going to need a removal spell available for the Forge. Oh, and it's go for the throat for our Kikijiki. Okay, I think we've won this game. Pretty sure we've won this game. They might have wanted to keep that back to deal with our token, because we can just double Brotherhood's End here, get rid of Sheoldred, and attack our opponent with our 6 power Forge here for a sweet little victory against Mono Black.